Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how to save images for the web inside of Photoshop. First, I'm going to start with a photographic image. So I have this stock photo here, and just for reference in this window in my Finder, you can see that this JPEG that I grabbed off a stock photo website is 2.5 megabytes, and its current dimensions are 4,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels, which is really large and not suitable to just drop onto a website. So I'm going to drag my image into my Photoshop, and this would be the point where you run any sort of edits you need to the image before you put it on the web. So let's just say that all I wanted to do really is crop it to a square. Once I have it looking the way I want to resize it for the web. So if you're sharing to social media, let's lock those. If you're sharing to social media, a good dimension to go with is 1200 by 1200 or 1080 by 1080, depending on the platform. So that will shrink down my image just a bit to this more manageable size. If you're putting it in an email, for example, you might want to go even smaller than that. If you're using it as a web banner, you might want to go larger. I tend to make my web banners 1920 pixels wide. So once you have your image sized, cropped, and looking the way you want it to look on the web, inside of Photoshop, you'll go to File, Export, Save for Web. There's a short key for this on Macs, which is Command Option Shift S, and that will open up this dialog if you're a short key person. So this is a photographic image, meaning I want to save it as a JPEG. You have different options up here in the top right corner for GIFs or PNGs. And down here as well, these presets are pretty easy to toggle in between if you don't want this big menu. But if you're saving animated GIFs, these will be the settings you're looking for. But for just a photo like this, I'm going to have JPEG selected, and JPEG High as the preset works really well. This quality toggle will change the size of your image dramatically, which you can track down here in the lower left corner. I know this pop-up looks like there's a lot to look at, but really you just want to look at the size down here in the lower left and the presets and quality up here in the top right. So you can go up to quality 100, and that will give us a JPEG that is just under 1 megabyte, which is pretty good. But if you're able to bump the quality down a little bit to 60, 70 is a good range. If it's like a high quality image, you'll see that your image gets really, really small. A good rule of thumb for loading an image onto a website is keeping that image under 500K if possible. There's going to be exceptions to that rule for really big high resolution banners. You might want to go a little bit higher than that. But for this little kitten right here, I'm thinking it looks pretty good here at 213.6K. So I'm going to save that. And when my save dialog pops up, this is a great time to change your file name to something descriptive. This is just a best practice for SEO. So cute kitten, cute kitten works. So I'm going to save cutekitten.jpg, and that photograph has been properly saved for web usage. So now it's a super small file size, and it won't really degrade over time because it's gone through that save for web dialog. Now, similarly to that, we can spin up a new file here that's, 1200 by 1200s works great. And over in my Illustrator, I have a vector graphic, and I can just copy and paste that into Photoshop. I can choose whether I want to have it in here as a smart object or a pixel um, layer, or however I want to do that, and then scale it to size roughly. And if I want this to become a transparent PNG for use on the web, I can just unlock my background solid white fill here, delete it, and you can see by the checkerboard pattern in the background here that we are transparent. So I'm going to pop open that dialog again, save for web. With vector graphics, whether it's typography or something you loaded in from Illustrator, or just something that doesn't have any photographic elements at all whatsoever, I highly recommend that you save for web as a PNG. So you have now up here a check mark that says transparency. If you uncheck that, it will fill all of your transparent areas in the file with white. But if you leave that checked, it will generate for you a transparent PNG. And similarly here, you can, with a PNG saved for web, your file size is always going to be really tiny. Even if it's a relatively juicy file size, you're still going to end up with a really small and compact file size, which is great. So this PNG is transparent, handshake, blue, circle, icon is a great file name for that. Um, so that is how you save elements for the web. There are a few different considerations needed when you're creating animated GIFs inside of Photoshop. I'm going to leave that out of this particular tutorial, but I hope you learned something new. Thanks for your time.